What's going on, everybody? So there has been a lot of different news and a lot of comments on one of my previous videos about what exactly is changing with the FAA test in regards to getting your A&P as things move over to the ACS system and away from the PTS. Stick around and I'm going to get into it. Okay, so the first thing I would like to address is there's been a couple of rumors that the changeover is going to happen at different times. What our school was told in the Texas region at ATEC is that the test will officially change for your oral and practical, or your DME, October 1, 2023, which shouldn't matter because we had to start teaching under the ACS, the Airman Certification Standards, 2 years ago. So everybody that's graduating this semester should be or should have learned everything under the ACS system, and that's what you'll be testing on. But here's what's changed with the writtens, and this is kind of where the confusion is happening. I'm not going to claim that I know everything on this because I don't. I'm only going to report to you what my students have told me and what other students at other 147 schools have commented on these videos. So the first thing is, the FAA has released, or has introduced, I should say, new questions to the written question banks for general, for airframe, and for power plant. However, the FAA is not releasing those questions. The FAA has also taken existing questions and reworded them or changed how they're asked. So what I mean by that is they'll take the answer and they'll make the answer the question, and they'll make the question one of the answers, or they will use the same figure. So like you have, I'll give you an example. In ground ops, you have a figure where there's like a man standing like this, a man standing like this, and a man standing like this. And it tells you 1, 2, and 3, which one is signaling a left turn. Well, they might use that figure again, but the question is, which one of these is them signaling a stop? Same thing with like some of the basic electricity figures and some of like the power curve figures, is they're changing the question about the figure, or they're changing the math and things like that. So the FAA is not releasing those new questions. The completely new ones, they're not releasing at all, and the changed ones, they're not releasing at all. This means prepware is still your best bet to study for your written test. However, you do need to understand that you're not going to get a word-for-word prepware test like I did back when I tested in 2014. You're going to get new questions that you might not have never seen before. So the best report that I have gotten from a student is that the test was 80% prepware. 80% of their questions were directly out of prepware. The worst report I got was actually from a YouTube comment just a couple of videos ago, that it was 80% new questions that they had never seen before. So how do you study for that? How do you prepare? Well, my advice would be, if you have all of your FAA, your workbooks and your textbooks, my advice would be to go through prepware, and when you answer the question, it gives you that little description box at the bottom. Read that description, understand why the correct answer is the correct answer. If you're still confused on any of your subjects, I would go back to the workbooks and look through the workbooks and answer the questions in the workbooks, as well as the answers or the questions in the textbooks. Also, I'm assuming probably about 90% of my audience is going through some sort of 147 school. Talk to your instructors. Your instructors are the boots on the ground who kind of know what's going on in your area, in your region, and seek as much guidance as you can from them. So with all that being said, I would like to open this video to somewhat of a open discourse, if you will, down in the comments. Keep it respectful, keep it polite, but put a comment down below if you have tested, what you're experiencing on your test, what questions you're getting, how much of it was directly prepware, how much of it was directly the same figures or reworded figures, and hopefully we can begin as a community to understand a little bit better what's going to be on these tests to help our students prepare more and more and more. Because this is all still very fresh for all of your 147 schools. We were told to make the changeover to the ACS last May, like May of 2021, I think was the cutoff. We had to change over to start teaching the ACS, and I'm graduating my last class of students this semester that learned their first semester under the practical test standards. As far as what changed with the practical test standards and the PTS standards, or sorry, the PTS and the ACS standards, the easiest thing for you to do there is to go to the FAA website, search them up, practical test standards, airman certification standards, and look at them side by side. I think you're going to see that about 80% of it is all the same. There's a couple of subjects that have disappeared. For example, welding has gone down to like just inspections, I think identifying a flame. There used to be more in there. There's certainly a lot more with composites, and there's a lot more with like blue water lab service and that kind of thing. But your ACS is not as scary as bad or as bad as people thought it was going to be as far as subjects goes. The biggest thing that changes moving forward in October, and I heard other regions it might be July, so talk to your FSDO, talk to your FAA, find out exactly when your local FSDO or whoever is saying that they're going to change over. We've been told October. But when you take your written test, your oral and practical test is now going to be based on that. So the better you do on your written test, the easier your oral and practical will be. The worse you do on your written test, the harder your oral and practical will be. Give you an example. If you go in and you take your written test for general and you do excellent, but you miss a whole bunch of basic electricity questions, got really bad news. When you go and take your O&P, you're going to get a lot of you're going to get a lot of basic electricity questions. So the subjects you do poorly in on your written test will reflect in your oral and practical. Now, the oral and practical questions have not changed very much, but the amount they're allowed to ask has. Before, they had to ask a minimum of 4 questions in each section and no more than 10 in each section. Now, I believe they can ask you up to 12 questions in each section, but they only have to ask a minimum of like 1 or 2. So if you do poorly on basic electricity or mathematics, when you go sit in front of your DME, your oral test is going to be really focused on those sections that you did poorly on your written test. I hope all of this helps. If you're liking the videos, like I said, if you're in the process of testing and you're a student, start leaving comments down below. My ultimate goal with this channel at some point is to create a Discord, maybe create a Facebook group, and sort of grow a community of certified aircraft mechanics and people that want to become certified and are willing to help people that want to be certified, because I love this career, I love aviation, and I want to see more people doing it. So as always, like, comment, subscribe, and be easy.